in 25 days from today. Let's see if we can put this in perspective. Follow me here. It'll be Arch Manning making his first career road start. Heard of him, Arch? Arch Manning.
Sure.
First career road start. Leading the now preseason number one team in the country for the first time in program history into the Horseshoe in Columbus to face the defending national champions who are ranked number 2 and will raise a banner. It's also a rematch of a national semifinal game in the Cotton Bowl 266 days ago. And as we said, has there ever been or have we ever seen a bigger or more hyped week 1 college football game? Seems like the answer might be no. And the answer is actually no, we have not. We actually have not. We have never seen a bigger game because here's the fact. Since college football polls became a thing in 1936 when the Associated Press put out the first college football rankings, coaches' poll, as we said, started in 1950. There has never been a number 1 versus number 2 game in week 1. Never before.
And it's at 11 a.m.
And Arch Manning's playing.
At 11 a.m.
Yeah, at 11 a.m. Well, Texas could have moved that. Texas was asked, can we move this to Sunday night of Labor Day weekend? Stand alone game kind of thing. And Texas said, nah, we're good. We're good. And I don't blame them. I mean, they had the rights in the contract. I know a high majority of college football fans are like, come on, man. Move that thing off 11 o'clock. Make it a Sunday night game. We're all off on Monday anyhow. We won't be. We'll be here on game time. But Texas honored the contract, said, no, we're not in any hurry to do Ohio State any favors. We'd rather play a noon game, Eastern time. We'd rather not play at 7 o'clock at night, and we'd rather get in and get out. We're good. Screw your TV ratings. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's the right call by the leadership of Texas. I mean, It make people mad, but who cares? You're trying to win a game. And any advantage you give them is not a good idea. It's not your job to do what's good for Fox or college football. But, yes, it could have been not an 11 o'clock game. But that's what it'll be because that's what the contract said. Hey, all right, so other notable opening week games in history. Let's take you, 2021, if you go back right out of COVID, Georgia played Clemson. And that matchup, 2 top 5 teams, both national championship aspirations. That was neutral site, so not in a home stadium. Georgia won a defensive struggle 10-3. That year. Georgia went on to win the national championship that year. Their defense was really, really good. That was one of the best defenses of all time that Kirby Smart put on the field that year. 2017, Nick Saban and Alabama played Florida State. That was highly anticipated, powerhouse programs, but Alabama won decisively 24-7. That solidified them as a national contender, and they went on to have a great year, obviously. Game I was at, 2016. A lot of hype. USC was playing Alabama at AT&T Stadium in Arlington, Jack, another neutral site game. That was a day in which we had set up this cool documentary thing, and a friend of mine who makes movies was married to a pilot at the time. So we we flew from Austin to Houston. We took in 4 games in 3 days, and we documented it all. I think that thing's still out there. It's like a 20-minute documentary that we made. But we went to NRG Stadium to see the beginning of the Oklahoma-Houston game. So OU with Lincoln Riley was playing Tom Herman in Houston that day, 2016. And so we flew down. That game kicked off at 11. We watched the first half of that game. Houston ended up winning that game, by the way, beat OU. We flew up a little quick jump to Aggieland, where we watched the beginning of Texas A&M and UCLA playing at College Station. That was Josh Rosen against Myles Garrett and the Aggies. That was a fun game and hot, man. I was burning up. That was really, really warm on the field at Kyle Field. But then we jumped back on the plane and flew up to Arlington and watched the entirety of this game, Alabama-USC. And let's just say it wasn't much of a game. Nick Saban, Alabama won 52-6. It was a track meet. It was ridiculous how bad it was.
Who was that? Clay Helton?
Clay Helton, yes. Man. It was bad. But it was a lot of hype for the game because it was USC and it was Alabama. Both were ranked.
That have been Darnold, or was that the year after or before?
I just remember Alabama running up and down the field. I was kind of tired by that time. We flew out of Austin about 8 in the morning, and we tailgated at some places too. You know what I'm saying?
Darnold started there in 2017 because that's when Texas went out to the Coliseum.
And then we came back, so the fourth game was Texas-Notre Dame on Sunday. So we flew back. Game. So we flew back Sunday and went to the Texas-Notre Dame game. So we had 4 games in 3 days. And it was all billed. What was the backdrop was, college football in Texas. There's nothing bigger. 4 big games all within, 200 miles of each other. Some of the biggest brands and names in college football. You had Texas and Notre Dame, and Oklahoma. You had UCLA and A&M, and obviously Alabama and USC. That was fun. But that game was big, but not as big as this. And then to 06, Jack, Michigan played Florida. That featured 2 top 10 teams. That was a great game. Florida and Urban Meyer won that game 32-28. Great football game. And Florida was a national power at the time. Michigan's Michigan. You go all the way back to 1996, I guess. Tennessee played UCLA, and that was Peyton Manning. And both teams were top 10. And Tennessee won that game over the Bruins 24-14. Peyton Manning and company. So, again, there have been big openers. But typically they're a neutral site, right? So teams will meet and play in Atlanta, or they'll play in Arlington. There's never been anything like this, y'all, to this magnitude. I'm just telling you. You can find it in history books, but 1 versus 2 for the first time. Rematch of a huge game and a national implication game 7.5 months ago. Ohio State's going to raise a banner and then be the underdog. Well, they're favored by Vegas, but, Texas is number 1, they're number 2. And Arch Manning's going to make his 3rd career start. That's a fairly big deal. He will take the field at Ohio State, as far as we know, is the odds favorite to win the Heisman Trophy, according to the odds makers. That's a pretty big deal. And come on, this is it. This is the biggest opener of all time. Texas is a part of it. Let's hear some opinions on it. First, Steve Sarkisian. He was on a national radio show, Colin Cowherd, couple weeks ago, and Colin asked him about Arch Manning. Is he ready for this? How much control of the offense is he going to have? Can he change plays? What was Sark's gut on how Arch will handle the magnitude of this ballgame?
Well, I mean, there's going to be some, and we're still formulating that game plan. That thing is nowhere near set in stone. And we're going against a really good defensive coordinator, Matt Patricia, which I don't think people are talking a whole lot about. Here's a guy who's been an elite defensive coordinator at the NFL level and worked under Coach Belichick's been a head coach with the Detroit Lions. And so that poses its own challenges too. There's not a lot of tape, no tape of him coaching in college football. And so putting a plan together that we feel good about also gives Arch a little bit of freedom to get us in and out of some things that, as looks present themselves in the game, because there's so many unknowns. I think is going to be critical, and he's more than capable of doing that. The guy's been raised watching tape with Eli and Peyton and his dad and his grandpa and everybody. So we're going to feel good about that. And he's got great composure, and he's been in some fires with us already. So we'll feel good about it. Do we want to major in him having to audible on the road? That's a difficult thing to do. But we're going to give him some opportunities to do those things, especially at some critical moments. All
right, Steve Sarkisian, and weighing in with Arch Manning, and why not? I mean, now how about this, Jack? And I think there's some Southeastern Conference bias here from the great Paul Finebomb.
Oh, maybe.
And he's got some Arch Manning love, safe to say. And he believes, and this was also way back in July, he went on SportsCenter about 25 days ago, 3 weeks, and said, not only will Texas win, but Arch Manning's going to be the reason Texas beats Ohio State in 25 days.
I'm very convinced, and I am as married to Arch Manning as an old geezer like me can be to a young, great college quarterback. But I like everything about him, and I think you said something. Manning's name matters, but it's not going to matter on that field in a couple of weeks at Ohio State. The experience of being an understudy to Ewers and understanding Sark's system is what's going to get them over the top, and definitely beat Ohio State in the opener.
Ooh. Definitely, according to Paul Finebomb. Okay. We played this yesterday, but, with the number 1, number 2 ranking coming out yesterday, Mac Brown weighed in. Of course, he took Texas into Columbus 20 years ago and helped, lead Texas to a victory with Vince Young at the helm, and that led to an undefeated season and a run to the national championship game. I will say that game was week 2, Jack. Both teams had an opener. But that one is on this magnitude. It was in week 2, not week 1, because everybody understood USC was preseason number 1, but the winner of that game was going to have the opportunity, if they run the table, to play Ohio State. Because that was back when only 2 teams made it, and if you didn't win that game, you could never get back ahead of that other team, and that's how massive it was. But Mac Brown also likes Texas and the Burnt Orange in this game.
I think it's a huge advantage for the home team when it's a night game. They're in their own places. They're comfortable. They've got family around. They got their friends around. That visiting team has to sit there all day, like Ben said, and you got to get up. But you're watching every game. You're nervous. Sometimes you're so nervous you want to go to sleep because you just want to relax, and you can't go to sleep because that makes you groggy for the day and the game. So that is such an advantage this year for Texas that it's a noon game. They're going to get in there. They'll be up at 7 o'clock. They'll eat pregame meal at 8. They'll be in that stadium by 9, 10. I mean, it is such an advantage to play early. That I'm sure Ohio State wasn't very happy with that because, like Ben said, we finished the game at midnight. We were home at 5 and had to get up and come to practice the next day.
All right, so there you go. Agreed, and that's why Texas didn't come off of the contract. Said no.
Yeah,
we're good. We don't need Sunday night. And of course, Chris Del Conte, who formally denied the request, said. Yeah, it's a school week the next week. Yeah, we have Labor Day, but, we don't need to be getting back, it's Sunday morning or Monday morning because it's Sunday night game. And you just heard Mac Brown say it. I think anybody understands it. A night game effect is different than a day game.
Absolutely.
Doesn't mean Texas will win the game, but if you're looking for every opportunity to gain a small advantage on the road against the defending national champs, we'll take 11 o'clock or noon their time.
They literally don't have enough time to get that drunk.
That's true.
I mean,
and the last time they played, this is true.
Sunup?
Jack, the last time they played a noon game on that field, they lost to Ohio State or to Michigan. To Michigan. And Michigan then planted a flag. Remember, they played the night game against Tennessee. The 8-9 matchup a couple of weeks later, that was a night game.
And they rolled them.
They rolled, and then they, went to the Rose Bowl, beat Oregon, then they went to the Cotton Bowl, beat Texas, and then beat Notre Dame. But the last time they played a noon kick in that building, it was not good for the home team. Like everybody thought Ryan Day might get fired after that. Remember when there was a brawl because Michigan was planting flags and that was
tried to pass a law.
Yeah, then the lawmakers started making laws about planting flags. That's a bitter memory for the Ohio State Buckeyes, who will try to erase that by raising a championship banner, and then they'll play Texas.